What's up guys, my name is Ace, and we finally got the patch notes for last night's update, which included a bunch of weapon balancing as well as some perk balancing and some other stuff that we're going to be going into great detail with today. So let's just hop right into it and start it off with the assault rifles. First up, the AK-47 got a reduced headshot multiplier, so it went from 1.4 times down to 1.3 times. And essentially what this means is now don't even think about headshots with the AK-47. They are now useless for you in the maximum damage range, which is going to be the vast majority of your gunfights. Pre-patch, if you landed all 3 bullets to the head, you could get a 3-shot kill. However, post-patch, it puts you right under that threshold, and therefore it's going to take you 4 shots to kill to the head, just like it would if you were shooting them in the foot. Now, the exception to this is the 20-inch Spetsnaz RPK barrel, and this is the one that increases your damage, but also really significantly increases your recoil. With this, they also nerfed this barrel a little bit, and pre-patch, 2 headshots mixed in with a body shot with this barrel would give you a 3-shot kill. Now, post-patch, you have to hit every bullet to the head to get a 3-shot kill, and that's not likely to happen because it increases your recoil so much, so I still wouldn't recommend using this barrel. Moving on to the next assault rifle, the KRIG 6 also got a reduced headshot multiplier, and this one went from 1.4 down to 1.2. And this unfortunately takes one of the biggest strengths away from the KRIG 6, which is pre-patch, all you needed was 1 headshot mixed in with 3 body shots to get a 4-shot kill. Otherwise, it would be a 5-shot kill. Post-patch now, with this new headshot multiplier, you need to hit 2 headshots mixed in with 2 body shots in order to get that 4-shot kill. So this is actually a fairly noticeable nerf to the KRIG 6. It's still a pretty decent gun, and it's not that difficult to land a couple headshots mixed in with a couple body shots, but it's not going to be as easy as it was before to take advantage of those headshots. Now, moving on to the next gun on the list here, this is the FFAR, and the first thing they did is they bumped up its damage range from 25.4 meters all the way up to 38.1 meters, which is a great buff for the FFAR, and on top of this, they slightly improved its horizontal recoil. Which, if we have a look at it side by side here, honestly, they don't look too much difference at first glance. But if I draw a rectangle around the recoil plot on the left from pre-patch, and then I put that exact same rectangle over the recoil pattern on the right-hand side, it's the exact same size, you can definitely see that it doesn't kick to the right nearly as extreme as pre-patch. So the recoil on this still isn't nearly as good as it was at launch with this gun, but it is an improvement from the nerf that it got a few weeks back, and it should be a lot more usable now post-patch. So that's it for the assault rifles. Now let's move into the SMGs, and with this, 3 of them got a buff to their damage ranges. So first up, the Milano here, it got a buff to both of its damage ranges. Both its 4-shot and 5-shot kill ranges were boosted, and it's definitely a noticeable improvement there. Then with the KSP-45, once again, both of its damage ranges were improved, and this is a very noticeable improvement. This gun, once you get some attachments on it now, is an absolute beast. It just annihilates everything in close quarters, assuming you can get that 1-burst kill, which is much easier now because your ranges have improved. But finally for SMGs, the Bullfrog got a buff to its ranges, but not its maximum damage range. Its 5-shot kill range is exactly the same as pre-patch. However, its 6-shot kill range was massively improved. This was buffed from about 24 meters all the way up to about 38 meters, which is a huge, huge improvement. And the Bullfrog I thought was a good SMG before this patch, now it's even better. And with this, it's now time to move into some of the most anticipated nerfs of this update, and this is to the M16 and the AUG. So let's start it off with the M16. With this one, the first thing they did is they actually increased the burst delay a little bit from 235 milliseconds up to 260 milliseconds. So a little bit slower, and therefore this gun is now going to be less forgiving if you don't get that 1-burst kill, because you have to wait a little bit longer for that next burst to be coming. But the other thing they stated in the patch notes is they reduced the maximum effective range. However, the in-game stated stats didn't change at all. Then I went and tested, and it doesn't look like that changed at all as well. So I have a feeling either this particular part of the nerf didn't take hold, it's not actually active in-game right now, or maybe I'm just measuring something wrong here, I'm not too sure, but in either case, the range appears to be exactly the same as pre-patch. Now, as for the AUG, this one got hit a little bit harder. First up, its damage value was reduced from 54 down to 51, which on its own, this doesn't change anything. It's still going to be a 3-shot kill or a 1-burst kill, and this doesn't change that fact at all. However, another thing they did to it is they nerfed the headshot multiplier from 1.4 down to 1.2. With these 2 changes combined, now you can no longer get a 2-shot kill to the head with the AUG. Now, I really don't think that was much of an issue pre-patch. I don't think too many people were getting that 2-shot kill to the head, and I didn't really see many complaints about the headshot multiplier on the AUG. But in either case, that's what they've done. You now require 3 shots to kill, no matter where in the body you're shooting them with the AUG. Now, additionally, just like with the M16, the AUG got an increase to its burst delay from about 197 milliseconds up to 220 milliseconds. So slightly slower and therefore slightly less forgiving if you aren't able to get that one burst kill and you have to get that second burst in. And I find these changes to the burst guns to be a little bit strange, because the biggest complaint about these two guns is the fact that they can get that crazy good one burst kill, which allows them to kill literally twice as fast as most of the full auto guns in the game. I don't think too many people have much of an issue getting 2 bursted by these guns. It's that one burst kill that's frustrating, and none of these nerfs really address that with these guns. So for me, what I would have much preferred to see here is the introduction of an upper torso multiplier for these guns that would require you to be hitting those upper torso or headshots in order to get a 1 burst kill. That way they would still maintain a 1 burst potential, as I feel they should, but it would require a lot more precision, and therefore it would be a lot less frustrating to be dying to. But that is just my opinion on this, and I do want to hear what you guys think about the nerf to the burst guns in those comments down below. But now let's move on to the LMG category, and the only one that was touched here was the M60. And with this, the first thing they did is they sped up its aim down sight time from 650 milliseconds down to 600 milliseconds, which is a nice and noticeable boost. Also, they improved its swap time, so you can swap to your pistol or shotgun a little bit faster. I didn't have any pre-patch values for this, but just know you can swap weapons a little faster now with the M60. And then finally, its horizontal recoil was also improved. And when we look at it side by side here, you can really clearly see they cut down quite a bit on that horizontal recoil. And I noticed this in game as well. It's much easier to control than it was pre-patch, although it does still have a decent amount of side-to-side bounce. After that, we move into the sniper rifles, and the M82 finally got a buff. The first thing they did is they increased the damage multiplier for the upper torso, so now you can get a one-shot kill to the upper torso with this gun without having to use that barrel that boosts your damage. Also, if you are using that barrel that boosts your damage, the 22.6-inch Tiger Team barrel, your one-hit kill potential will extend to the upper arms as well as the upper chest. So a pretty significant buff already to the M82, but they also buffed its recoil, which unfortunately I didn't have pre-patch testing on the snipers yet. I just haven't gotten around to those, but we can see the recoil post-patch isn't so bad considering the power of this gun. Considering the fact you can now get a one-shot kill to the upper torso, this recoil is definitely pretty manageable. But moving on to the pistols, the Magnum got a couple buffs here. And the first one was an increase to its damage range from 19.05 meters up to 25.4 meters, so not a massive improvement, but a little bit of improvement there. And then on top of this, its fire rate was improved from 180 rounds per minute up to about 200 rounds per minute based on my hand testing. And the reason I had to use hand testing here is this value didn't actually change in the in-game stats. So I'm not too sure what's going on there, but I did do the hand testing on this, and yes, the rate of fire did improve. It's just not stated in-game. But finally, for the weapon balancing changes, let's move into the shotguns. And the Hauer 77 got decreased damage ranges, although the in-game stated stats didn't change at all, so I don't know what the values are that changed here exactly. But just know the damage ranges have apparently been decreased, and this also applies to using the Task Force barrel. Now, we saw the same story with the Gallo 12 shotgun as well. We have decreased damage ranges, but again, the in-game stated values didn't change at all, and I haven't done my really detailed shotgun testing yet, so therefore I don't have any pre-patch to compare it to, but the damage ranges have decreased for the Gallo 12, including the Task Force barrel as well. And then on top of this, our rate of fire was also reduced, and this one did change in the in-game stats from 212 rounds per minute down to 189 rounds per minute. And this is quite noticeable, and now this makes it so your time to kill value with a 2-shot kill with the Gallo isn't all that exceptional anymore. You're often going to be beat by an SMG now, assuming you both react at the same time when you're using the Gallo 12. And with that, that finally wraps it up for all of the weapon balancing changes that happened with last night's update. However, we've got a few other key changes that I wanted to point out in today's video. The first one is Flak Jacket. This was nerfed. I did an entire video covering this in much greater detail earlier today, but basically the damage mitigation went from about 65% down to 55%. Then with Forward Intel, they stated that they increased the viewable minimap area. However, I can't seem to detect any change whatsoever. I broke this down several weeks ago, and I did the exact same test, and I'm getting the exact same result. So I'm not too sure what's going on with that one, but it doesn't appear to have actually changed at all. Next, Ninja got a bit of a nerf. What they did here is they just removed all of that protection that you had from the field mic, which I have covered in the past. That no longer applies to Ninja, so Ninja does nothing for you against field mics anymore. Instead, they transferred that ability to Spycraft, and then they buffed the crap out of it. Spycraft will now make you literally invisible to a field mic, no matter what you're doing. You can be sprinting at full speed right around it, no problem. You're not going to show up on there. You can even be firing a suppressed weapon within the radius of a field mic, and you still won't be showing up, which wasn't the case when Ninja had this perk. However, one little thing I noticed is if you step directly on top of the field mic while using Spycraft, then yes, you will appear as a dot for a brief moment. I think this is because what they did here is they actually just reduced the range down to like 0.01 or something like that. So yeah, don't step directly on top of a field mic, and as long as you're using Spycraft, they won't be able to see you. But now let's move into the equipment. There were a few balancing changes here as well. First up, they slightly increased the damage of a frag grenade as well as the Molotov, and they reduced the heal speed on the stim shot. So the amount of time it takes you to actually heal up after you've injected yourself, that value has been increased, so it's going to take a little bit longer for your health to regenerate there. After that, getting into field upgrades, they also adjusted the field mic a little bit against people that aren't using Spycraft. Field mics will now no longer detect people who are crouch walking, aim down sight walking, or swimming. And this is great to see. You don't have to have a perk in order to counter it. If you know there's a field mic around, just crouch and you will be completely hidden from it. Again, if you step right on top of it, yes, you will appear on the radar, but aside from that, this is a great way to counter it. Additionally, for field upgrades, the gas mine got a few buffs here. First up, it now deals more damage. Second, they completely removed the detonation delay, so the moment you trigger it, it goes off. However, they also slightly reduced its effectiveness as far as slowing enemies down. It's not going to slow you down as much if you get hit by that gas. It's just going to be hurting you more now. And this just leaves us with one last change that I wanted to mention in today's video that's more of a general change here. But what they did is they reduced the amount that you get knocked back when you take damage from an enemy player. Now, you guys might remember this from my flinch video, but basically in this game, there's practically no flinch to your point of aim. However, when a bullet hits you, it will actually push you back a little bit. And especially with a sniper rifle, it would really push you back a lot. Like if you received a lot of damage at once, you would jump back super far. However, post-patch, again, being shot in the leg by a sniper rifle, you barely jump back from that. So you shouldn't be noticing that pushback nearly as much as pre-patch. And this is awesome news. I feel like that pushback was very annoying at times, and now we don't have to deal with it nearly as much as we did pre-patch. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for everything I wanted to mention in today's video, where I'm just talking about the gameplay-related changes that happened with the update from last night. There were also a bunch of things that are just setting up for Season 1, but that's outside the scope of this video. Of course, if you want to check out the patch notes for yourself, I will leave them linked in the description down below. Now, as for my overall thoughts on this patch, I think there were a bunch of great changes. I really feel like something different maybe should have been done to the burst rifles. I don't think that's what we're really looking for as a community, but we'll give it some time and see how they play out. I don't anticipate they're going to be much less annoying now than they were pre-patch. And also another thing that I was really hoping to see addressed with this update is something to do with the visibility in this game. I was hoping we would see them try to make some improvements somewhere. However, as far as I can tell at least, I don't think they touched anything in this area. At this point now, I'm just really hoping that all the new character skins and stuff are going to be popping a lot more against the environment, and that will hopefully somewhat indirectly affect the visibility in game. But I don't know, that's just at this point one of my biggest gameplay related complaints at this point with Cold War. Of course, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on this update that we got last night, specifically with the weapon balancing and perk balancing changes that they've made? Are you generally happy with these changes, or are there some changes that you're not happy with at all? Just let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.